And we should be live and recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Nova Terra, a Stars Without Number campaign brought to you by Roll20.net. There you go. How's that, Space Master? Following your suit.
Oh, really, really, really?
Well, you
Yes.
fixed up all the titles for our videos, so I
Yeah.
thought it's brand unity is what it is.
Yes, 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 yes. It's brand, Unity, actually. Yeah, yeah.
I'm in
Very good.
marketing. I'm not in marketing.
No, I am. That's why I did the titles.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
that's
so moving forward, let's get into it because we've only got a limited time tonight. We're sort of sneaking an extra week in between our usual fortnightly content making. And we're going to, I don't know, I've just been itching since that last session. I really want us to sort of get rid of those nits and figure out what the hell's going on here. And I got really excited. So let's do a quick summary for anyone who's jumping in here. Right. So Ellis, Calloway, and Guy are individuals amongst the colony. In a system that's been cut off from the rest of the sector because they don't have spike drives, and it's been a couple of 100 years since the Scream, to be confirmed exactly. I want to figure that out by next session, and basically they're on the verge of unlocking inter-system travel again, and who knows what that means for the colony and for the humans and for the peoples. So it's an exciting time to be alive. And what's happened is Ellis has his own specialties and I guess I dare say expertise with mechanical things and gadgets and post-tech and astrotech and all of the techs. And that may or may not be helped by some of his underlying psychic prowess. But he's obviously risen to the tops of the ranks in his field of work, and he's been handpicked by the colony. What would we call them? The colonial council, to participate in some extra sensitive missions. Likewise with Calloway Parker being a complete science nerd who knows how to fire a sniper weapon and stab wild animals in the neck to protect the group of researchers. He's proven himself to be very useful, and has been again handpicked to join a task force to tackle some of these more sensitive issues that are pressing against the colony. Guy Powers is pretty much the only guy out there who is going to have the balls enough to fly this ship in any direction that's needed. No, definitely there is some what's the word I'm looking for? Inherent skills, just deep, baked into the core of Guy Powers. It's just wrapped in this egotistical megalomaniac kind of flesh around the actual skill and talent. So he was also handpicked. These guys made their way through a virtual test to get to the point where, yes, they've proven their mettle, and they're off on their first mission to explore the rim of the system, where there's a massive asteroid and ice belt. There's been some long-range sensors back on the colonial worlds, and some of the sort of research and mining outposts picked up some of these strange energy readings coming from the system's rim, and these three hapless fools have chosen to go investigate that. And it's probably worth mentioning, I think one of the highlights of last session was the naming of the crew and the naming of the ship that you guys have on loan from the colony, the scout ship you have on loan. So, Guy, would you just remind us, Mr. Powers, of what those names are?
The ship is the Vigilante. The Vigilante. And what the fuck is going on with my microphone at the moment? Oh, fucking hey.
It's tasty, man. It's tasty.
Stay. Don't do it. And the team has been named sort of forcibly by Guy Powers. The Wardens of Chaos.
Oh,
The Wardens of Chaos. So the Wardens of Chaos. All right. So let's cut into the chase. Let's get into the game. So that summary is there for good measure. So opening titles for Nova Terra, and then it cuts to that predictable empty space shot where there's just stars twinkling like dust across the screen, and there's the shadowy side of a planet. And there are two ships that are hanging outside the orbit of this planet. So this planet does look a bit smaller than perhaps usual if you're sitting in orbit. And there's these voices, and they're not English. They're not speaking English. It's this guttural, slurping sort of language, which is really gross. And there's some subtitles that come up at the bottom. And the one ship says to the other, this is not a joke, by the way. One ship says to the other, subtitles like, subtitles, she did not return. She was due back 7 cycles ago. And then the other ship says, go fetch her. Snap cut to these buffheads sitting at the bridge.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but was that important, or was that a joke? Because I missed most of it.
Awesome. How come you missed it? Is my audio dead?
No, my monitoring input for my microphone is apparently wonky, so
you were fixing it.
Yeah.
All right. No, look, it is important, so it's probably just like Guy Powers not to notice it anyway. And look, to be honest, it's quite meta. It's not really something that your characters would know. It's just something for a bit of flavor.
I'm definitely not going to metagame with it. Just so you know. Yeah, I don't do that.
I'm also not going to do that.
Actually, I might just change my my audio here just so I don't miss anything else.
Cool.
If that works.
Can you still hear us? What about now? How about now?
Apparently not. Apparently that doesn't work. What a world.
These technical difficulties. So how about this crazy weather we've been having?
So tell me, Ellis, tell me more about what sort of things you're doing as you're tinkering away during travel time on the Vigilante towards this sort of, through this ice belt and trying to track down this. What are you doing whilst Guy's piloting around rather flamboyantly through the large rocks of ice and chunks of ice?
Well, is this like the 5th day?
Well, you guys got to the point where Callaway had deciphered the data set and sort of realized what this energetic disturbance means, and it looks like it's some sort of residual energy from an engine, as best as Callaway can tell, and effectively it looks like it's. All things considered, it looks like it's a weak trail. So perhaps this engine hasn't been operating at full strength. It's just like, that's strange to only see this much energy, residual energy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, you'd expect to see a lot of it, but no, it seems to be like this sort of weak trail. And and so I guess for about 5 days was you guys were sort of like tracking in and around the asteroids and the big rock, chunks of ice, deftly maneuvering through it all to try and get closer to this signal, to this residual energy trail.
Yeah. Well, Guy Powers isn't being fancy anymore. He's bored after 5 days, so he's just got his feet up on the flight yoke. And is reading a Space Dude magazine. Space Boy, rather.
How did you smuggle that on?
In my jacket at all times.
Emergency Space Boy magazine.
Yeah.
Nice. I dig it.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. And so I was just asking Ellis, what were you doing during those 5 days as well?
Well, would the scanner still be needed after those 5 days? Like, since we've found this energy signature, do we need to continue to scan to narrow it down further, or do we now know of the source and its location?
No, definitely. It's kind of like continual scanning to try and find. Do we go left? Do we go up? Do we go diagonal? Oh, it's
Yeah.
over that way. It's over that way.
Well, Ellis,
And so this
Sorry.
wouldn't be at this would be at like base level scanning sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not trying to do anything like that's exceptional with the scanner. It's just like, oh yeah, we've found the trail. Callaway's kind of giving you the indication that it's, look for these parameters, tighten up on these parameters. This is what the energy residual, and basic tweaking to sort of focus the scans on a particular, bandwidth or whatever.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you would have been sort of doing to pass the time over the 5 days?
Probably mostly narrowed in on that. Ellis being sort of slightly obsessive in nature would mean that he's not going to go doing too much else. Like, that's the primary mission. That's why we're there. So, he'd be pretty engaged with the scanning. Like, probably equal parts bored and frustrated because it's fairly menial, but also he doesn't know what he's looking at, I guess, So he's relying on Callaway's help to interpret the signals and narrow it down. So, beyond that, probably just waiting for further direction from the scanning technology or Callaway, and just staring out in space, really getting into the whole adventure because he's never really been out into deep space before. So,
cool. How's your medication going with being a psychic and having to fend off, MES?
Presumably on top of it.
Let's roll a mental save.
Oh man!
Oh shit!
But I'm so organized. I'm a super nerd. All right, here you go. Mental save 12. Dice should hopefully work. Oh mate, I double dose just to make sure.
He's juicing.
Awesome. Remind us again. What are the psychic flavors you have?
Great question,
Cherry,
Space Master.
Grape.
No, I am definitely not telekineticist. No, telekineticist it is. Yeah, telekinetics, and I haven't written it down for some reason. What in the world?
I have. You're telepathic, and you're so you've got empathy at level 1, and you've got remote manipulation at level 1, which is telekinesis.
Those are the skills. Yeah. So it's there you go. Telekinesis and telepathy. Ah.
So like, what's some of the side effects that you've grown to just put up with? Is there anything that happens during your sleeping cycle, or is there any like weird, influence on your day to day?
Probably the day to day not so much. If anything else, has embraced even not really exactly knowing the full extent of the power. He's a mechanic and has to lift a lot of heavy stuff. So if he's got the mental capacity, it's part of his day-to-day rhythm, right? Is like, that spanner is too far away, I'm just going to grab it with my mind, or this is a little bit too heavy, so with my mental third arm, I can help myself lift it without asking for help or going to get that lifter. So,
Okay, now.
Hey, I kept it clean.
It was, yeah. That's good. Okay.
And that kind of stuff. At night, probably just like really crazy, weird, vivid dreams that he
I
may
bet
or
that's
may
when
not
you
wake
use
up
your
for.
mental third arm the most. Am I right?
Ooh, baby.
Hey, now.
There's lady psychics everywhere.
We've just pushed past PG-13 now. Okay. Right. PG-13 is a asteroid, okay? Not a rating. Right. No, that's all good. Okay, what about Mr. Parker, Callaway? So
That's part of the canon.
So, Mr. Parker, you've had a pretty successful, I'm assuming your ego has been stroked a little bit, having like gotten onto this energy signature thing like straight away. It's like, boom! I see through your bullshit data set. I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, look, I think Callaway would more just be happy that he's doing his job. Really, like, I don't think he would have any big ego about like making the big discovery or anything. But yeah, he's just basically monitoring the scanners and trying to direct Guy in the right kind of direction and find the source of this. this disturbance.
Okay, cool. Wicked. All right. The other thing I was going to think. All right, no, I'll come back to that. All right, cool. So, do you guys remember exactly where we left off? Was it just the fact that you were 5 days away, and did anything come into visual range at the end of last session? I can't remember.
We had left off at the point just where Callaway had deciphered the signature and said it's seems to be a weak energy source from an alien ship of some sort, a hyperdrive from an alien source, and that was the cliffhanger.
Cool. All right. So you go. Let's cut ahead to the point where now Callaway is fairly certain that whatever is creating this signal and this energy, residual energy, is now should be within visual range. It's like you've floated around in a few different directions through space, and the signal is just getting pretty much weaker in any direction that you go from here. And so, out the viewports or even on screen with the sort of low, the camera arrays that would be pointed across the hull, there's nothing that stands out. There's just literally no visual clue amongst the to be fair, there's a lot of moving, floating rocks and moving, large sort of pieces of ice that occasionally reflect a glint of, starlight from the system's sun. But it's pretty much dark and shadowy, and the background array of stars is almost brighter than everything that's, within visual range in terms of the rocks and ice. So you're close. How do you guys want to tackle this?
So I think we're close, guys.
Certainly looks that way.
Oh, geez. So we're sort of nearby the coordinates, but can't see anything. Is basically the long and short of it.
It looks like the whole time you've been traversing around this belt. It looks like the same as it was, 5 days ago when you arrived at the belt.
Right. So, would you say we've gotten close enough to have fulfilled the mission? Do we know what the source is?
You haven't identified the source. You just know that now with the residual energy readings from your scans, there is no direction you can go now where it gets stronger.
Ah. Well, we thought this was a ship. Could be a ship. Could we broadcast? See if anyone answers a call. Could the ship send out an EMP? Oh, you didn't. Guy's getting into character. I got it.
I can make a science check.
What would you be sciencing?
Trying to identify the source, I guess. Or trying to see if there's anything else I can gain from this residual energy. Now we're at the strongest point.
Right. So you'd probably know that the scans that have been getting us this far are basically Ellis's hyper arrays, pretty much rudimentary scanning, right? It's like
exactly
it's like level 1 of level 5 scanning or something like that.
Yeah.
So you would know that now that you kind of narrowed it down to like this, Guy Powers is probably going to be the one who can give me more accurate here. Like how couple of 100 clicks distance, is that what we're sort of talking about here? Like that's kind of visual range around you, is a couple of 100 clicks here and there. So
it depends how big the thing you're looking for is, I guess.
Yeah, true. So I guess I guess you'd probably know that there are things that we can do, whether it's sciencing or whether it's scanning or whatever. But I'd like to hear, I guess, how you would use the data, or how what are you gonna look for, and how are you gonna kind of piece it together, or
Yeah.
what
well,
action,
I
what
guess-
levers are you gonna pull to try and make stuff happen?
Well, what am I using to scan? I assume like some sort of compad or something is
Well,
running the
Ellis is
scanner.
running. Ellis would be running the scans
Yeah.
on your command, sort of thing, and Callaway would be just sort of processing the resultant data.
Okay. So I guess in the data, I'd really be looking for like a definitive answer on the fuel source for this energy, and any clues on where we can look for whatever was generating it.
Cool. So, like I said last week, there's no real way to triangulate the position because there's only like one, omnidirectional scanning unit.
Yeah.
So it's more like a strength meter. It's kind of like when you're trying to analyze your Wi-Fi in your house. And you're like, is it good here? No. Is it good here? Oh, it's good here.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you want to get like a little sharper on the science stuff, I guess make a roll and see what you can do. It's going to be a difficulty of -3 though, because you've spent 5 days looking at this data, and there's no there's no real clear indication of anything else at these level 1 scans.
And that's just intelligence, yeah.
Yep.
So -3.
Yep.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty hard at this point. Yeah. So there's nothing.
Close.
There's nothing you can figure out that's
Yeah.
that's going to give you any extra clue at this scan level.
Yep.
Could I? And if this is like getting too meta-ish, not meta, but like too out there, would it be feasible for Ellis to have tried to supercharge the scanner as a once-off, like drain some extra power from the peripherals on the ship to
Sure.
try one heavy like scan pulse?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Rad.
So roll that scanner as what's one of your strongest skills there?
Tech post tech is my single strongest skill.
Yeah. And nobody has computers, do they?
Nope.
So we'll sub post tech in because you built it from scratch. It probably doesn't have a computer interface either. It's probably some sort of janky sort of like, oh, I gotta like cross these wires here and plug in this capacitor here. Oh, look, it's fired.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
yeah,
very
it's-
like circuit board-ish kind of stuff. Like
Cool.
future circuit board stuff.
Or 80s future circuit board stuff.
80s
I like
future
it.
circuit board. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like neon cables running everywhere, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
Liquid cooled.
Yeah.
Looks like James's dream PC.
Just straight int roll on that?
So that'll be good question.
Like
I
dexterity?
think that's a wisdom because it's wait. You're doing a no. Yeah, you make it a. That's a tricky one. I don't know what to bonus it as. Yeah, int sounds fine.
All right, here we go.
Wait, because this is running a level 5 super induced pulse, right, of your hyperscanner.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to roll a d6 after this
Okay.
to see if your hyperscanner breaks.
Yes. All right, here we go. Well, here's the roll. 7.
Cool. So that passes. So the pulse fires successfully.
Hey, who's draining power out of life support?
Yeah, that's absolutely what Ellis is doing. He knows it's not going to be long enough to suffocate anyone, so he's pulling power from life support and the lights and all that sort of stuff. So whatever he can do.
So the whole ship kind of just goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything powers down for maybe like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, and then slowly amps up, and some lights flicker, and
And he's
yeah. Now that you've done that, there's actually some of the cockpit like overhead sort of just ambient lighting. Now they're like flickering.
Yeah.
And it's just like right above Guy.
Got it.
Yes. Oh, he's the D6. Oh shit.
Mate.
Oh,
Mate.
Cool. All right. So, what are the components of a ship that make ships work? There's
Nah, come on,
hey,
just my scanner.
seriously.
My scanner broke.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it crit had failed. So, So that's not good.
Yeah, it's probably started a fire or something. Yeah.
Well, there's like the thrusters and life support and all that sort of jazz.
What's he tapping into specifically?
So he pulled the whole he just the primary power conduits. He's just like, I'll just tap into that everything, and I'll just
Shit.
supercharge this. So the way I want to roll this is kind of like what happens when you sort of fail a spike drive thing. Is basically you roll against the ship to see which part of the ship takes damage.
Well, there's weapons too. Weapons are another part of the ship.
Yeah.
He could just do damage to the EPS conduits, Star Trek style.
Hacksaws.
Hacksaws. Oh, here I go. I think I found the damage
There's
table.
the atmosphere, there'd be lighting, there'd be the drive itself. Weapons. Geez, what else would there be? That's really about it. Steering's powered separately, I guess.
But it's also like what engines? Because you gotta have the main drive.
Yeah.
Then you might have maneuvering thrusters as a separate system.
On a small ship, would you have separate thrusters?
Oh, you've got to, because you got to get that yaw and roll and whatnot.
You just need a rudder, bro. It's the same as a boat.
Mate, this is space we're talking about.
So let's just list a few that make sense for the scout ship. So primary engines, maneuvering thrusters, life support, scanners,
Retro thrusters
not maneuvering retros.
as well. Yeah, assuming they're on a different system, they might be, they might not.
This
Who
guy.
knows?
Luckily,
I'm
we
no
brought this bloke along for the
shipbuilder.
roleplay.
I reckon you should actually build this ship in your homework and in your backyard. No, life support, scanners, weapon systems. What else makes sense?
Next week, we roleplay from Rick's living room, retrofitted to be the inside of the vigilante.
I can dig it.
That'd be so good.
Guys, I would love that.
That's not far from that Star Trek bridge simulator.
Exactly, I was thinking of that.
Oh my gosh.
Good times.
What do you need
right.
from me, Space Master?
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that makes sense.
Now, is there going to be
Settings,
one number on this table that's you miraculously get away without any damage?
No.
Come on. You got to give us some chance.
All right, I need one. I need one more system that makes sense. So I've got primary engines, thrusters, retro, and maneuvering because they're on the same circuit.
Yeah,
Life
okay.
support, scanners, weapons.
You need one more. You need
Is
7.
lighting? Would
Oh, I
lighting?
need I need
Shields?
6. No,
Do we have any shields?
no, I don't think you have shields.
Interior lights? Or all the lights?
That would
No,
be
no.
like the electrical.
Okay,
Like-
we'll call it primary. We'll call it just like core electrics or something.
Let's call it systems. Electrical, like the HUD interface scanners and whatnot.
All right, cool. So I've got 1 to 6. Now,
Do I roll another
Hello?
D6?
yeah, let's roll another d6 and see what you fucking fuck up.
I'm trying.
This
Can I
guy.
somehow spend a fate? I'm trying to think. Can you spend fate points retroactively?
No.
Come on.
Well, not this retro.
Be a
No,
guy.
it's-
Be a
Time has
pal.
passed.
All right, here you go. Sure, you don't want it like a D7. Like you never know. The power just like expels out the back, and everything's fine, right?
Well, maybe if we reverse the polarity.
That's what I did that actually. Yeah, totally. All right, here. 2.
So your thrusters are out.
The maneuvering thrusters.
Yep.
Oh,
So
Shit, that's really bad.
yeah, so that means like fine control through this like floating rock and ice field.
That means
We can't-
whatever direction we were moving when they went out, that's the direction we'll be moving for all of time.
you just have
No,
to.
you've still got primary engines, so you can still
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
like the main sort of like kind of. Oh, you mean you can't even turn at all?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the maneuvering thrusters. We're just going in a straight line
Can we-
forever.
Can we not just pinball off the ice belt? Like find one that's pointed the right direction, and you know.
If we
Can we
crash
still reverse?
into
Can we still hit reverse and stop?
Look, guys, there are ways my sci-fi brain can fix this. We'll come up with some shit. Don't you worry. I'm already got ideas, but this is serious.
This is serious, Mum. All right, so let's take it back a step. So a lot of things just happen in a very quick succession. Ellis used the hyperscanner that he'd built, that he'd
It screwed
engineered
us.
himself.
Let's not beat around the bush. It screwed us.
All right, the whole system goes, the whole ship goes, and you just hear this like thud of like a boom, which is like this sub bass thud of the pulse happening of the scanner.
Are there windows in this thing? Can I see if our thrusters have just like jettisoned off into space?
You can, everyone at the point that the pulse happens, data starts feeding back into the system, and the few displays that you guys are looking at individually and like separate from each other start just overflowing with data. Like this is a huge haul of data, right?
Have we got one of those like red outlines of the ship that like flashing?
It shows you the lights of what systems are working on what and not.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And there's like, like some sort of horrible like bar graph that sort of says 10%, 100% on like all these different systems.
Yeah.
And thrusters just goes blinking on like an empty outline of a battery. So it's like, there's no power to the thrusters. At the same point, everyone has like this like little jolt at that point. And that's the point that Guy realizes that you guys are starting to drift. It might not be very apparent to Ellis or Calloway. It would have just felt like the ship rocked a little bit. So that's all happened. So yes, you got a whole bunch of data that come in from a successful use of the hyperscanner.
Yeah.
But the hyperscanner has caused some damage.
You broke the ship. You broke the bloody ship.
We should know where the target is now, at least. The scanner did its job. I knew those mechanics back on the planet, back on Ether Prime, were doing a subpar job. I told them, and this is what happens. It's definitely not my scanning equipment. Look.
All right. Well, you can tell that to whatever Arsenine archaeologists dig us up on whatever Arsenine fucking backwater planet we end up on in 50 million years, all right? Because that's where we're heading.
Guy, I thought you wanted your legend to be lost in history. Now you'll be known amongst the stars.
Don't
in
start.
50 million years.
All
right, so as you guys are having this little argument, a large piece of ice from the belt sort of starts slowly twisting its way just in its normal trajectory, and it's just getting ever so closer and ever so closer and just ever so closer.
How big is it?
It's probably about 20 times bigger than the ship. It's a big one.
Oh my god.
All right. And retro thrusters are still working, meaning the thrusters that get us to stop.
Well, I put them both on the same circuit in that last gig, so
we can go forward in a straight line, and that's it. And presumably, because I assume we were maneuvering at the time that they went off, that we're probably in a spin of some sort.
Hey, do we have spacesuits?
Roll a luck save.
Oh,
They didn't pack us exosuits. What kind of 2-bit operation is this?
do we all do a luck save?
No, just Mr. Parker.
Now,
Oh!
All right, so like you go to the cupboard and you open it up.
It's just cobwebs.
there's some space
Like
cobwebs.
There's like an empty packet for a spacesuit, and
Yeah.
like just nothing else.
there's a sticky note at the back that says, "I owe you 3 spacesuits."
Yeah.
It's like, Dave,
Damn mechanics.
suits need replacing.
Yeah.
Please get on it. Like post-it note.
Hey James, do a quick reconnect, bro.
Oh, I'm gonna switch to Firefox actually.
Alright, we'll see you shortly. Now, should we take a break there, maybe? This is a good little
Yeah.
cliffhanger. We've gone about 35 minutes.
Yeah, and there's a massive rock that's floating. A massive rock of, chunk of ice. It's a nice
That's such a good cliffhanger. All right. Well, come back after this break, and you'll find out. Well, it's probably going to be a couple days if you're watching this real time. Anyway, we'll see you soon, everybody.
Bye bye.